Perfect. There, we're live. Yes.
There we
Welcome
go.
back, guys.
Thank you.
And Sean too.
And Sean, yes, absolutely.
Hello.
Hello. It's TrekCulture Yards time.
Yes.
It's got a ring to it. You have to admit, it's got a ring to it.
Yeah, it's a sub-yard version. We have it, because normally you just live in an office, but when you come to us, you've got this whole big shipyard, and it's a big hangar bay. It's a very echoey version of your normal set.
Something like that. But welcome back. Thank you for joining us. As you guys know, we're going to be talking about the final episode of Star Trek Prodigy, well, at least for now, for the mid-season break. And it's going to be a good discussion, hopefully. So,
And we did do a 4.5-hour Drunk Yards breakdown of the season on Saturday, Sean, along with the 2.5-hour full review on Friday. So we've done about, plus our review, so we've done about 8.5 hours of discussion on this already.
I know I have stuff to say, but from your guys' point of view, what's left to say that hasn't been said? Obviously, it's going to be nice and fresh for me, but do you feel now that you're just like, oh my God, just bring Discovery to me. Just bring Discovery to me. Wash my mouth out with Discovery.
nope, I don't think I'll ever say that.
Really, Stuart, now, I think that's surprising.
But no, I mean, I really want 20 more episodes of Prodigy, but we got to get back into Discovery, get that finished, and Picard, and oh my God, there's so much to do. Yeah. I'm just excited to hear what your thoughts on it are. So you're going to do most of the talking this time. So no, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, this is a great fresh perspective sort of thing. We're going to bounce off each other, really come up with new ideas, where we're going. That's where I think this is going to be. Besides just a review, really more of a where are we going forward. This is actually our last Prodigy video live. Tomorrow will be our last edited video. So you are our last discussion point, Sean. Congrats! Way season finale of Trekyards as well.
I feel very proud to have this honor. Thank you very much.
Which makes sense. Then we sort of think about things forward, and I know that me and Stu have different perspectives on the season finale of what it might mean, which is great. And your third perspective, that's gonna be fantastic. But yeah, we have reviewed it in depth, and even doing the retrospective is really interesting to kind of see what ties were there or not there. And last thing before Stuart, I go share it. I'd also rather more 10 Prodigy personally than Discovery, just because I'm just like, come up. That was a good. No. Ah, damn it. 3 or 4 months, 5 months, damn it. So I would prefer more of this, to be honest.
Yeah. Lots of new Trek for Prodigy. So, are you gonna go share?
I am.
All right, cool. Well, that gives me a chance to tell you guys to super chat your thoughts in. We do read them all on the air, so you can get your thought, out there. You can get your question answered, and we really appreciate the support. So if you can, please do. There's also that join button. Subscribe to the channel. Go check out TrekCulture as well if you haven't already. And shame on you if you haven't. But by all means, do all that stuff. Check the links down below. There's Trekyards merchandise at the TeePublic store and the Teespring store. La-di-da-da-da. If you want to send a PayPal, you can send that to trekyards@hotmail.com. Just let us know in the regular chat that you sent it, and we will check your comment or question via the email from PayPal. So lots of great ways to get in touch with us and to help us with the channel. And if you have any questions of Sean, that's a great way to get our attention as well. So by all means, consider doing that. And just hitting like. Hitting like is the easiest, freest way to help us out. We have 33 likes right now with 48 people here. 50 now. So I want to get to 50 likes. So another 17 and hit that like button if you haven't. Well, like I said, thank you, Sean, for coming back and joining us today. Hoping for a good discussion and some new insights from you. So I've been checking a lot of TrekCulture videos lately, and I love the content you guys do. Sorry for my dogs.
It's okay. You guys have a mascot. That makes me that makes me extra happy. I need to get a mascot for TrekCulture here in my office. Right now, I am the mascot. And it's a lot of weight to carry.
Yeah, for sure. Alexa, stop. Oh my goodness. Sorry about that.
Also sponsored by. Yeah.
Well, the dog barked and the Alexa started playing Baby Shark for some reason, so I don't understand how that works. But anyway,
that is a beautiful chaos. I don't understand what is happening.
Deleted, so I'm just going to start again.
What happened? Oh,
Facebook.
good job.
I'm going to write it again now.
Okay, well, we're still here. We're just chatting, hanging out. So, but yeah, I mean, how busy have you been over at TrekCulture? I know you can't do your ups and downs anymore, but you got a lot of other stuff on the go, yeah?
Well, actually, okay. So since our chat last week, so what we did is for the mid-season wrap up, we said we would do a video for that. So we did do a sort of retrospective, mini kind of ups and downs, but it was more of season from Kobayashi up until A Moral Star 2. So we're really, really, really hoping, like seriously, everyone, it's been fantastic, the support that we're getting, and the I want to address with pure love the outcry when we said that we weren't able to continue ups and downs for Prodigy for a little while. You guys understand, I won't bore everyone in the audience's ears. It's to do with algorithms and it's to do with budgets. It's unfortunately, it's several decisions over my head. But if things keep going well for the channel in 2022, obviously I can't promise that we will do ups and downs for the rest of the season, but it definitely would be my hope that we'll be able to bring ups and downs in for every episode. We had great feedback for the mid-season it's a recap ups and downs. As opposed to just because we covered more than just A Moral Star. And it was just great for me because I was able to finally do my citation observations for, we can talk about Kobayashi. Okay, we can talk about this now.
That's cool.
And it was a lot of fun. But yes, other than that, it's been beautifully busy, because what we're doing is we've been doing a big kind of push to get our 20 Things You Didn't Know About Each of the Films series going.
Yes, yeah.
So that has been, it's funny, like it's the stuff that, like this is some of the information that like we might have known just from our, like I've lived on IMDb trivia more than I've gone outside. So like it's like, right, oh my god, did you know? No, Sean, I didn't know, because why would anyone know this stuff? But it's when we get to put this into a list. And I've just today finished the list for Star Trek V: The Final Frontier, and
there's a lot of you didn't knows for that, for sure.
That's true. That, I mean, like it'll be a good list. Put it that way. There's stuff in that film and behind the scenes of that film that's just like, my god.
The behind the scenes is insane for that film, for sure.
It's nuts. But yeah, and then we have Discovery back on Thursday. So,
yes,
going into another galaxy, probably.
Yeah, I think potentially things are looking that way anyway.
I've forgotten the end of the show. I'll have to rewatch a little bit of it, but we're gonna go to place to see people who are or are not baddies. And we'll see if Grey has a storyline or not.
Wow.
Okay, well, I don't want to, just in case anyone watching this hasn't seen, I think a shift in that storyline might potentially, that has happened, might allow more storyline to now happen.
That would make sense.
But don't want to say any more just in case anyone hasn't seen. So.
Gotcha.
I don't remember, so you'll spoil me if you tell me.
Right, cool.
It's been a while.
I don't want to spoil it on you, Sam.
So, Stuart, no, I know what you think. So, John, what do you think of Prodigy Season 1, Episode 10?
Well, before we get into his opinion, let's get to the 2 super chats.
So, Samuel, shut the hell up.
Yes.
Ozzy Maderos, $2. We got a new ship. It's Foley's favorite ship. And then Janeway. Yeah, it's not, though. I really, really dislike the Dauntless design. And even Prodigy's version of it, which is slightly different. It's quite different. Yeah. Watch our video on it, guys. It was out on Saturday. Go check it out. Taylor T, though, throws in $20 super chat. So thank you so much, Tyler. That is awesome. Says, thanks for the stream, gents. Great to see Sean back again. Yeah, that absolutely is great to see Sean back again. So thank you for the super chat.
Thank you.
And Paul Pope throws in $2. Stu, Sam, and Sean, nice to see you again today. Hey, the triple S.
Nice. S cubed.
Yeah, see, I'm the youngest of three brothers, and my oldest brother is Steve, and the middle brother is Sean. And so, but Sean is SHAWN. It's spelled a different way than yours. So,
okay, that's all right. Yeah. We love difference. Difference is cool.
Yeah. So I'm used to being just one of the 3 S's, but this time I'm on top because I'm the captain. I guess I don't know. It's going to be different for a change.
I'm like the guest ambassador that's probably going to turn out to be working for the Romulans anyway. So.
Yes. All right, so now we get into your thoughts on this last episode of Prodigy, Moral Star Part 2. What did you think of it, Sean?
Overall, really enjoyed it. There is I'm going to get my con out of the way first.
Con.
And that's the fact that we got no con in this. The Diviner for me did not work this season. And I'm so sad to say that because I love John Noble, but for me,
Yes.
Dreadnought should have been the villain of the season.
With lightsabers.
Speaking of Dreadnought, I love how he got taken out. Not really, but hey.
I pleasantly refuse to believe that's the end we'll see him because it can't be.
No,
Like,
I agree.
Yeah. Like he's in. I choose to believe he's in the systems of Prodigy somewhere. You know, he's been beamed in. They'll go to build a shuttle and whoops, it's Dreadnought. Something like that. Like as in we live in the land of Star Trek. They'll bring him back easily. The Diviner that scene with Zero, I thought I really enjoyed that scene, but overall now the Diviner, for me, there's just too many gaps in logic, and there was too much time spent going, "Where's my ship?"
And I'm a bad father.
Yeah, exactly. And the comments, lads. Ever since the episode came out, we've been talking about, is John Noble's lot in life just to be cast as a bad father? And there's people keep giving more and more examples of him playing bad fathers in television. For example, I'd completely forgotten The Boys, and I was like, yes, of course, he was a dreadful father in The Boys as well.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Sam, that is a knowing look of yes, of course.
I haven't seen that one yet, but I'm excited to see Boys at some point.
Good show.
I know, I'm sure. Like, it's one of those things you can't watch it unless you've got your girlfriend with you, and then there's other things you want to watch first. Lockdown was a thing that happened that stopped us watching it together. So, small things like that.
But overall, did you enjoy the episode, or what did you feel about the ending?
Well, I hold preface. Did the ending make the episode a ton better for you once it was all finished?
Yeah.
I know what you mean by that. No, I think the episode itself I enjoyed. Loved the little teaser at the end, sure. And in the hindsight of the 10 episodes we've got, I like where they placed that. As in that there wasn't an early reveal or something like that. I do like that. Yep, great. That works for me as a cliffhanger. We'll pick up on that now later on in the year. I did enjoy the episode overall. I have problems with the Diviner's plan. Fairly large problems. Yeah, exactly.
We do too. Yeah.
Okay. So are we all on the same page? They're I must get the ship back. Why?
Well,
why did you need to do that?
Now, we're always shotgunning things. It's going to have to be an itemized, let's go through some of these things, because there's so many small things in here.
Yes.
But just for interest's sake, Sean, because I don't know if you've rewatched all 10 recently, but we did in a retrospective. Part of that is that I go back and actually find all our original review scores per week, which are obviously a fresh, as they come out with no foreknowledge. So I have those scores. And then we do again the retrospective once we've had the booze throughout the night. Another set of scores without knowing what we've already given. And while I do a chart, I don't actually look at them. So then at the end of the live, when we can't barely speak, I then tell us how our scores compare, and it's always really interesting because things normally shift or sometimes don't shift. And so I can tell you that in both review sets, so first time round over those 10 weeks and the second time, Stuart liked that last episode least of the season.
Okay.
Out of all 10, how do you feel about that?
Okay, I think my initial reaction would be I think there are weaker episodes, but I'm very interested to hear what about it I maybe didn't pay off for you, or that you so why was it dreadful, and why does everyone who made that episode just come across as an awful person to
you? Not just that, both times his original score was which was 2 days ago, was 6.7 out of 10. And his score drunkenly the next day was 6.8. So he was incredibly consistent despite, and he never sees these things. So I'm totally telling him. So yeah, so very consistent over both watches. Okay, there you go, Stuart. Just want to give you.
Okay.
So why did I not like it? Is what you're asking?
What was your least favorite? Both times.
Yeah.
Just because part one built it up to they had this amazing plan. Like they're still kids, and I get that. But there's the montage of them having a plan, and then there's the whole line of, I hope Gwen can buy us enough time to work out this crazy plan. There's no plan. I mean, even the translator going through the manacles was just luck. Them take Dreadnought getting disabled was not even their response. They didn't even take part of that. Which with a kitten's claws, by the way, should have been a mining torch or something.
Well, as you said, adamantium kitten.
Yeah, adamantium claws.
Wolverine kitten.
So there just wasn't enough of a plan, enough meat there, and it just felt kind of just thrown together as part 1 and 2 together. It's not too bad. You got to understand these are not trained Starfleet officers. They don't necessarily have a good plan, but it seemed like there was going to be something very creative. The only thing that they did that was creative was put the protostar into Murph. So if it wasn't for the last bit of the episode, it like that raised the score for me, but not enough to really pull it out of the quagmire that it was in for me. It didn't seem like a cohesively planned story or plan on their part. So that's kind of where I sit with that. I mean, it's entertaining for sure, but it just didn't feel like the plan we'd see in Star Trek with a few twists and turns, you know?
Yeah, okay. I have to say I don't disagree with you.
Okay.
I'd be terrified. I'd also like, oh look, we have technical difficulties. TrekCulture has dropped out of the chat. But because you're right, there is from either the diviner or from the Protostar crew, there is no logical plan going on here, and that is slightly more forgivable for the kids. Slightly more forgivable.
Yes. Diviners had a long time to think about this. This plan is just not a plan. So, yeah.
It was nice to see the Cation, because obviously we've been talking about the Cation kid since the first episode, and you know, kind of they can't leave her there, they can't leave her on the, and they didn't. That was great. I thought we would get slightly more of her.
Yeah, I'm sure we will in the second half. Maybe I think that Rev 12 is going to come into use at some point with everybody on board.
It'll be like when Saru's race turns up at the end of Discovery Season 2, they can suddenly pilot warp-capable fighters all of a sudden. It's like, oh my god, there's a Rev 12! And the kitten's now in, like, gold armor. It's like, the hell? Wow, power to ahead.
Rev 12 won't be infected by this virus that he's going to put on Starfleet ships, which is a stupid idea, because it'll only affect a few
We'll get there, Stuart.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I feel you have things to say.
What's interesting about I felt this episode in particular, and again, I had this conversation with Stuart, so it's more into you, Sean, is that this episode for me felt the most where the idea of the episode butted up against the 24-minute limit and also kids show simplicity, because both of those things stopped from having any real complexity, where the things that could have been really interesting were extremely one note and done, move on. I think this one was just almost inconcilable, those two things, because kids can understand more, but try to cram a lot in, so they'd be very simple with everything. It didn't help. What do you think?
I think so, because the darkest moment in the episode, and the darkest moment really of the season, never mind child slaves aside, the reveal of Zero. I mean, that is a hell of a moment. That could be a standout moment of the franchise, and I feel it was, while I liked the moment, I feel as a gesture it's got kind of lost in this episode. I feel that should be a much bigger deal. Zero has deliberately driven someone to insanity.
Out of vengeance. Anger. Sith-like, you know?
This, like, that could be... I had a chat during the week with somebody. We were reviewing TNG Reunion. Worf, you know, in quite cold blood, walks out of the quarters, gets his bat'leth, beams over to the not the Bortos, sorry, but to Duros's ship, and engages in combat. And all of that decision. This is a main character who has chosen. So similar here, this is a main character. I mean, it is pretty much implied in the original series that you will die eventually. Once you've seen the Medusan's true form, you'll lose your mind first, but there's sort of no coming back from it. Now his name escapes me, but the designer of the engines of the original Enterprise, obviously he sees
Matt Jeffries.
Yes, in real life, on screen.
Designer.
Yes,
got Daystrom who did the infrastructure, and Scott who does the fixing, but who?
So this is I will jump onto it. I'll Google now in a moment, but no, he's only introduced in Is There in Truth No Beauty? The episode introduces the Medusans to Star Trek. He and Dr. Miranda beam aboard the Enterprise, and he's just literally this throwaway character. And Scotty greets him like a hero. Oh, you are the designer of the engines of the Enterprise. I'm like, all right, we've never heard of you before.
And goodbye.
And then he sees the Medusan's true form, goes crazy, and then dies.
Yeah.
So that's the legacy of what happens when you see a Medusan's true form.
For a human.
For a human, yes, for a human. So, obviously, sorry, good point. Is the diviner now gone forever, or probably not? Would be my
thematically he can't be. He was the entire point of the season.
Which raises a question I also want to ask you, Sean, because this has been a lot of debate about it. Where is the diviner? Did they leave him on the mining asteroid, or is he? A lot of people speculate that he's on the ship in the holodeck.
What was your interpretation?
Which I don't think they would do, but.
It's a good question. I will confess I didn't really think about him after the end of that scene. Thinking of it now, I would say holodeck, but what's the point? But I don't see them leaving him to die.
Yeah,
if the Rev 12 has left Tars Lamora, if they leave him there, he's dead.
Yeah, and he's not wearing a suit either. He doesn't even have a shirt on, so he doesn't have his back to tank. For help.
Well,
but yeah, a lot of people have said that they think he's on the protostar. The kids brought him with them, which I can believe. But why not just put him in the brig? Why have an elaborate holodeck program for him?
Or confined to sick bay, something like that. Okay, Grant, he needs assistance. Sure thing, no problem. But I honestly now I hadn't thought of that until you said it there.
So as if you haven't done 8 hours of discussion about it or something.
Well, I mean that is a fair point. Yes. Felt like that when I was doing the ups and downs for it. So I was like, kind of what's left?
Trekyards.
All right, lads, take it away. I'm done. I don't know. Now that you say it's a good question, it's dark enough what happened to him.
Yeah.
It'd be darker again to leave him behind, because that's effectively like, oh yeah, sure, we know it's started 2 seconds later, somebody warps in and saves him. That's fine. It doesn't necessarily mean he'll die, but they chose to leave him to death. Is it?
Well, Garrett Martin just commented, I think that last scene was in the diviner's mind. He didn't have the life support suit, and his hair was considerably darker than the previous scene. Could be, but it still doesn't answer the question where he is.
Well, there's a difference between the 40-episode plan that we couldn't even guess because there's twists and turns versus what they showed us and told us. Because that's all we can go from is what they literally showed us. They're extremely explicit in the dialogue to be non-explicit. They said we left him in the ruins of what he did, which can be figurative or literal. I mean, very, very clearly figurative, although visually it was a lava asteroid, which he was on a mining lava. There wasn't much lava, there was some. But yeah, the fact that he's not got his life support system, which is fine in theory for a while, but, he was dying anyway, we can assume, based on his old age feeling. And, is he too mentally unstable to not even eat? Because like you say, he will starve to death. Oh yes, you didn't kill him. You left him to die eventually. It's like, no, you killed him. But then, how's that?
Well, he left him with all the Watchers, all the robots on the asteroid. They take care of him.
It's a bit like the logic. Batman Begins. I'm not going to kill you, but I don't have to save you. Batman, I don't think that would fly in a court of law.
It's gravity that killed you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So I think it's definitely you meant to sort of think, oh he's on the asteroid, and then it's like, haha, no. And I like the idea of being in his mind, but. If they knew he was from the future, then you obviously keep him on the ship because he has knowledge. That said, Gwen lost her mind on that, but as my dad actually pointed out, the holodeck recorded the entire thing. We've already seen Rock Talk rewatch the holodeck from that day, and so all they have to do is say, wow, what did Gwen and him talk about? Shit, really? Which is a massive plot hole.
I don't think they're going to do that, though. No,
they haven't... I can imagine maybe the zero energy broke the hollow emitter. They have to say that in dialogue because it's that easy to see what happened. Because which is great. It'd be great if they knew, but then they just wouldn't go to Starfleet, and that's clearly the impetus for the next part. That said, which I guess we can go on to the plan stuff, but where on earth can the show go now? Because as soon as they go to Starfleet, shit hits the fan. Obviously, they can probe warp out at any point, and that's kind of a moot point. They just leave. But then, where's the story? I said to Stuart, it might really be the story of how do you save the planet, because we as Starfleet-loving audience members, we've now got a planet to save. That's now the thing. I would think of the whole show, because we know Dahl's not going to go into Starfleet. He's too old. That's not going to be his thing necessarily. But the planet is going to be lost. Time Pill going to go back and make bad choices, etc., and kill people, whatever. So how do we now save their planet? Because we've got Gwen. You don't need to make a first contact with an alien. That's going to help. So that's kind of and I guess it might be 30 episodes away, but that's kind of, I guess, maybe the grand plot. But do you know what I mean? What's next?
I can see it all going wrong based on the Diviner's plan. Sure, they go to
Yeah.
Starfleet, and they infect a ship or two. They don't realize it yet, but they say, there's already a ship approaching that planet to do first contact, or they've detected it. They just reported in. So the Protostar goes and warps, or Protostar is there to stop them. Meets up with the other Federation ship. The other Federation ship gets infected with the virus that the Diviner put on. So they make first contact. They just beamed up. The Protostar comes in. All of a sudden, the other ship starts firing at the Protostar. It could be a bad situation for first contact. Just saying. It could be the Diviner's own fault that this all happens to his planet.
Oh, like a predestination.
Yep.
Yeah. Right.
So, yeah, because even I said that before I even came up with that one, was the fact that usually after first contact, there's a second contact. Send in the Cerritos. And that includes diplomats. So if there are people that want to keep the purity of their planet and their culture, and there's people that want to join the Federation, there's a diplomatic corps there that says we'll do as much involvement with you guys as you guys want. We'll talk to you about it. So there'd be an intermediary there to prevent the 50-year civil war that they had. It just seems like nobody ever came back. But
then you got to ask the side question of, well, is the Diviner's homeworld in the Alpha, Beta, Delta, or Gamma quadrant?
Yeah, no idea.
Yeah.
Because was it a normal mission that went to find them, or was it a deep space Delta quadrant expedition like on the Protostar, or a similar ship in the future? Because that changes the context. If they're in the Delta quadrant, then that ship gets damaged. There is no second contact ship available because they can't travel that far. If it's in the Alpha quadrant, then, well, that's bad on them. And first contacts have normally a duck blind mission for a while to check the society. That's a thing we've seen. We know that. So that makes me think it might be an accidental first contact. A ship gets damaged. Have you seen Stargate, Sean?
Yes, yep.
Yeah. So it's like the time the Prometheus needs to drop out of hyperspace. It's about to blow up and launch the quadricore and detonates. And then the planet's like, you basically bombed us. We didn't. I'm sorry. We had to stop here, and it was an accidental first contact, but it was necessary. But just the very nature of where is their planet, because it's irrelevant now to how we can get wherever we want with the Pro Drive. That's now an irrelevancy. So fantastic. But what's your vibe there? Where is it? Is it a deliberate first contact? Is it not? It's so unclear because they've given us no hints at all.
I feel it's going to probably end up being Delta Quadrant. I kind of thought name dropping Gamma Quadrant. I thought there was a reason maybe behind that, because for the Gamma Quadrant, for all of the talk of the Dominion, we haven't really explored the Gamma Quadrant very much.
No, not at all.
Because, quite frankly, the Dominion's been in the way. So with this, you can kind of more or less skip over the Dominion if needs be. Aaron Watcott he put out a series of tweets. I'm sure you've probably seen them already, where he just kind of went, I thought it was quite clever. It was like, no, look, we can do this now. We can travel very fast. Here are the precedents as to, where we got the technology, which I really liked. Which, I was going to actually get a little dig in against Discovery there. I do like Discovery an awful lot, but Prodigy took the time to go, no, we have reasons behind the way we can travel. Anyway, sorry. Right.
Well, I mean, the difference between the Prodigy and the Discovery team went out swinging saying, the reason you hate us is because we've got a black captain, and we're all like, where did that come from? A black female? Are you joking? We're Star Trek fans. And this team says, oh, guys, don't worry about this plot hole. Here's the evidence, he'll probably be fine. And here's some concept art. And here's massive difference in team. Prodigy team is a wonderfully respectful group, and the other team is not. At least the first season team.
I like, and so it's so engaging.
So
I'm
engaging.
a fanboy over it, but I really like how the Prodigy team have, basically, they have seemed to at least put across the idea of what Prodigy is supposed to be about, which is bringing new people into Star Trek. And I think we spoke about this last week about, I think going into the season, I had sort of bought into, I think it might be, show for kids, of course, within minutes. I was like, okay, I see that it's for a younger crowd, but it's not for kids in the way that, in the derogatory way of talking down to children.
And I'm not a 9-year-old, so I can't speak for the demographic. I know. But the fact that we are all still fully enjoying it means that they've successfully achieved a for kids, for adults, and for hardcore Star Trek fans. That, honestly, we were all worried, Stuart less so, but it's been a kind of masterclass because they didn't need to use a Ferengi Decor or a Class Marauder. Literally anything. And children won't know the difference. We all, our desk chairs raise up multiple inches. and other things. It's stuff that's so tangible. Why I've said this for Discovery, especially for like season 1 and 2. You have all these many races. Use them. You don't need to invent 32 new races. So they found Klingon bird of prey, and it's like it's the same value as a random race, but all of the added ooh yay factor. Like, why keep inventing new stuff for the sake of it? Like, I wish at the end the colony, the guys who had attacked Dreadnought, I wish they'd been like a 2 Herodian and races we'd seen to explain why and I said to Stuart, one scene that was missing would have been a scene where Dalek goes into a big courtyard area and says, "Guys, we know our friends are in this place. They're fighting Dreadnought. Any volunteers?" And then these big, bulky Herodian walk up. They're like, "Oh yeah, okay, they've got it. Doesn't matter hand to hand, they've got it." And it's like, great. That would have been an easy canon-y solution to that problem, I thought.
And like I added too, decapitate them with a mining laser. You're in a mine. You have mining tools.
You have the tools around you, exactly. Find a way potentially. Yeah, I respect the time limit, but find a way to use that own. But the man could take down a starship from orbit, find a way to turn that against him in some way.
But is it not just ironic? He kind of General Grievous, literally, figuratively, metaphorically, this epic guy, and he gets defeated so easily by a blaster, like kind of the exact same sense. Life imitates art. He looks like Grievous. He's really powerful in the first 3, and then absolute pussy at the end. That's
what I'm saying. I choose to believe we're not done with Dreadnought, and hopefully this will not age like milk. Because I think they've created such a good villain there. It would be a shame if this is how he goes out, but just to not see him again.
Well, and I'll jump here. Oh, yeah.
I was gonna say I like your idea of perhaps he's downloaded or incorporated himself somehow in the Protostar, and one vehicle replication away from taking form again. I absolutely love that idea because it's something he would do. You've seen him when the Diviner's saying things. You see Dreadnought's little. Not sure it's a good idea, and he even mentioned a few times that Gwynn was the Diviner's biggest mistake. So he doesn't agree with the situation. So of course he'd have a contingency plan, I think.
Yeah, well, we don't know what he's capable of. He beamed a limited clone of himself over to the Protostar easily, so that you can literally just make a new one of him pretty much instantly. So he is no longer a single entity of organic and form. He is just a machine dude that you can replicate. A bit of a side note, Sean. I was wondering, because we don't know the Diviner's age in any way, shape, or form, except he's very, very frail in 17 years ago. Again, doesn't really help. But he's definitely father age and late father age. Do you think we might actually see a young him when they eventually go to their planet? And there we can see Dreadnought a lot, fine. And therefore, it's not the end of his story. Well, it's the end of his story, but we see the initiation of that. Because I could buy he's 70, in which case he's now alive and young.
Sure, yes. Do you mean in a kind of another feed into a predestination loop? That maybe, let's say the Diviner is done, per se. Let's say he's not coming back from this mind
old
attack.
Diviner, yeah.
Old Diviner. And young Diviner meets old Diviner, and, this idea is burned into his mind about I must go back. But is that sort of where you're coming at from that?
No, I don't necessarily buy the predestination because too many things have been altered already. But if this is now a change history thing, then when they go to the planet, because she also want to go to a planet, she can then meet her father, and we have a reset on the character. Now you've got the new version of him who can play a part. So thematically, he's still in the show, just young version. And then how does that affect? Because there'll also be more to the story than what we see. So the young him may have been a scientist, may have been he X, Y, and Z. Who knows? But do you think we might see him again in that form?
Certainly like the idea. I think because it makes sense. I mean, his planet is sitting there; it's 50 years younger. So yes, absolutely. And then to kind of go with Stuart's idea as well of, again, sort of feeding back into I know you were saying about predestination, but somehow bringing the knowledge of the future to the planet leads in some way to this civil war that ends up destroying it. So
all it takes is the telephone game. One line of first contact destroys our planet in 50 years. It's a couple of people misinterpret that, and of course when the Federation shows up, we want no part of the Federation. We'll go to war for this because we know it's a disaster.
But then you got to think, if it is aimed at children, do you really want to present to children that this planet of billions is going to always kill itself in fire?
Watch any season of Doctor Who. I mean, if they say it's doomed, it's doomed.
I mean, let's not argue it's a kids show. That is hardly a kids show in any logical way. Kids just very, very young in the 70s when a plastic Dalek going, ha! Ah! Sofa! No, it was
Still
never.
terrifying.
I've met many
before we
Daleks.
move
They're
on-
not terrifying.
Before we move on, we got 92 people watching with 70 likes,
Fantastic.
guys. Hit
Vote
that
in the
like
poll.
button. Let's get the likes up to 100.
Ben Paul.
Also, vote on the poll. There's a poll there for you guys to vote on. And we got 2 super chats. So Jeff Sturm puts in $5.
Hi, Jeff.
It said, "No sense made equals I defer to my headcanon, where all sci-fi and the Andy Griffith Show are in the same universe. So I came to class prepared."
That's fine. Yeah.
I Am Misi throws in $5 and says, "I think Dreadnought or others like him may also be partially responsible for what happened to the planet. He seemed to have his own agenda to a point." That's interesting as well. Yeah.
He acquiesced very quickly to anything the Diviner
Many
did.
times. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, Gwyn is your greatest mistake. Sorry, boss.
Yeah. "I want to make a clone. Do this for me. It goes against the order. Please do this
right.
for me." Okay.
Yeah. Grand so, yeah. So is Dreadnought the one who's, yes, quietly organizing this civil war? But is the delivery of Gwyn, is something about cloning so taboo in this society that the arrival, her existence, there will be the factions who will support doing this, the factions who won't, potentially.
Alien interference led to a clone. Civil war.
Well, maybe that's why he
Exactly.
didn't want. Maybe that's why he didn't want the clone being made, because he knew that the Diviner was the last one, and he was, recloning him and making like a new person can thwart his plan of wiping them out or something. I don't know. It just seems silly because he could kill the Diviner at any moment. So that doesn't make sense either.
Well, is he a servant, a henchman, or an ally? Those lines are all so blurred.
Yeah.
A Sir Henchly, if you will.
Perfect.
That's
Perfect.
great. New word.
Now, there's another curveball I want to throw you, because this is a eureka moment I had on our live, on the 4-hour one, which was when we rewatched the season, the one of the meaty scenes was 17 years in the past, which is TNG season 3, and there's really, really good dialogue. There's very little of it, but very, very good dialogue. And he says, many people have spent many years looking for this ship. It may or may not be on this planet. And he's clearly very feeble. He's got a walking stick. He's clearly very ill. Then argues for the clone, makes a clone. 17 years later, they find Protostar. But they say, I was sent back. Many have tried before me, 4 years, and it goes against the order to make a clone. We don't know when he was sent back to. What if he is the son of a ship that went back? Because many have tried is not then for him. If you know there is more than just one, where do you think that might be? Because it was such an odd line now in retrospect. It isn't just the story of him just going back in time is not the story, because that's now no longer in dialogue. So what is that bigger story? How interesting could it be? Because what if he's searching for 50 years and his dad was searching for 30 years? He went back in time to 2003. He's been searching for that long, and that's why he's like, God damn it! All of my race, there was 12 of us when we started. I was the young kid. Need a clone. What do you think?
It's funny. Joe, actually, that reminds me somewhat of, you mentioned Stargate, 1962, but what happens if they didn't get home? And you have Hammond, who knows back when he's a young man, and, then contemporary Hammond later on. Well, I certainly like, because you're right, because TNG Season 3, so we know, obviously, Protostar, in some form or another, we know it can be affected by time travel, the whole time amok, which...
Just easily.
Ding. Time Amok is my episode of the season. That's my number 1 of this part of season 1.
Nice.
I just thought it was excellently executed. But also, of course, opening up the fact of, oh yeah, okay, we'll have a little bit of time travel there while we're at it. The timelines confuse the heck out of me in this season as to what happens. Yeah. And like that, if they're supposed to, nailing it.
Yeah, for sure.
I actually, on our video there, I think I was still so confused. I don't think I articulated myself very well. I was like, because everyone's like, it's said in 2383, it's quite clearly stated that it was like, kind of, and so yes, I say to you, that is fair. Yes, Janeway, I think, is in 2383 in that moment. But the whole season has been like the entirety of existence, nearly, at this point, because when the bloody hell, although she knows about the Protostar.
Yeah, and Captain Chakotay.
It's all a bit confused. When is things? Guys, help.
Well, that's the thing about the last scene, is that it does take place during the present day, but is that present-day Janeway with the Protostar that's already been built and lost, or is it future Janeway who's come back with Chakotay, which I think is future combat. It feels far more likely.
Mm-hmm.
Because otherwise the Protostar would have had to have been built around now, within months, you'd think, and lost within months, because Janeway's not going to be looking for a ship because remember, there's been no proto-warps since it would have jumped away originally.
Mm-hmm.
So how long is Janeway going to search for no information? 6 months, I think, is pushing it. She's an important admiral. So if the Protostar was lost 6 months ago, the hell are the chances the entire story of the time travel led up exactly to 6 months when it was lost? That seems obscenely unlikely to the point of ludicrousness. Oh yeah, the 70s who happened to wait takes us to present day. Which also means then the Protostars, which also means the ship... No, that doesn't make sense either, because by that point, we assume the planet's already been first contacted, so it has to be before that.
Well, it's almost like...
Plus it's got 50 years as well. So the Divine is at least from 50... Remember, Divine is at least from 50 years post first contact, which hasn't happened yet. So he is from 50 years in the future either way. So did he jump back in time once to steal the Protostar, which is in the present, which then gets sent back again? Or are they all from 50 years in the future? Because he has to be. His ship has to be.
It could be. Hold on. It could be that the Protostar on its maiden voyage with Chakotay did a proto jump and just disappeared. So Janeway's been looking for it for a few months.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, it had gone either forward in time and accidentally made first contact. That's when Dreadnought got aboard. They tried to figure out, use the Protostar in some way to. Anyway, they end up going back in time. Who knows what happened to Chakotay? Whether he went back in time or is in the present time stranded or something, which I could see. I could see them getting him off the ship when they confiscated the ship.
Yeah.
But there could be something like that going on, because honestly, yeah, it makes sense for her to search for a few months for a lost prototype ship, especially with Chakotay on board. But yeah, I don't know. I'm just kind of spitballing here.
Because if the Protostar was launched around now, or like a few months ago, then the Diviner already had to have been on the ship, stole the ship, infected the ship, and got back in time. Which means for a good few months there were two Diviners at the same time. From a ship that the guy has at least 50 years in the future. Why the hell isn't he calling himself to say, that thing you're about to try, do it this way instead? Of course he would do that with himself. And there's zero sense in the season of, I'm running out of time. I'm so nervous. He's pretty chill, even the last episode. So first contact feels like years away, but then that doesn't connect with anything else.
The other weird thing is Zero. Zero is named Zero because they were prisoner Zero. They were the first one. They helped. The Diviner used Zero to make some people go crazy. We know Medusans are renowned for their navigational prowess. Maybe he captured Zero as
from the hive mind. He does say that earlier.
Yes, as a way of trying to find how to traverse time to get where he needs to go.
That's good. That's very clever.
And maybe Zero doesn't even remember that for some reason, because obviously they would have said something.
That's very good.
So that's a good one as well, because we know Medusans are good for their navigational prowess. So
maybe simple as you can only slingshot around a sun if you've got a Medusan. At least that's one way. So he steals a Medusan, uses that to go back in time quite happily. Because he's so young at that point, takes it out of him, and then things go right.
They end up in the wrong time, and they have to mine Chimerium and look for the ship. Obviously, Zero's already a prisoner. Why not? What better way to control the new miners you have coming in than make them go semi-crazy? I guess.
But if Zero allows time travel, they could just fix his mistake and go back again, forward again, back again, forward again.
That's the problem when you do any time travel stories. Where do you draw the line?
Well,
if you. Yeah.
And what do you think, Sean, about? Because I kind of made it a bit complicated, but the timeline of such, there's so many conflicting dates that surely Janeway can't be from the present. She might be in the present, but she's got to be from the future.
She might be from the future. Yeah.
She'd have to be.
I must say, I very much like that theory that she's from the future. One, because we now have a running joke over the channel of exactly how many uniforms are in service at this time. In Starfleet. My credit card is just anyway. Never mind. But now,
and then you met me.
Yeah, well, exactly.
We'll wait and
exactly. See. So you know my pain, and of everyone in the world, you know my pain.
I will give you more pain soon, as you know, with other purchases.
But no, I was my controversial. I love the endgame combat. So I loved seeing that back again, and also something I did not pick up on in Kobayashi. It's on the display. I Perspective has obviously subsequently spotted that, but I didn't spot it at the time. So it's kind of little teaser there along the way. Because of course the Protostar would be well aware that that is a comm badge that is thing. There's also
we noticed that. We made note of that right away. So
because it's heavily prominent. It's not just there. It's one of the more explicitly obvious ones, which is an unusual thing in a show. There's a few of them in a show set. Yes, the endgame comm badge exists because of Janeway Future, but it wouldn't be taken up as the main comm badge. That seems illogical by itself. So why are that so prominent? Oh, because it's the standard comm badge of the era where they're from.
I would love to say it's the only thing I missed, but I did call the Enterprise D an ambassador class. So we'll just move swiftly past my eyes.
And he's on Trekyards. We got to rethink our special guest there, Samuel.
I'm just keeping you guys guessing. Just keeping you guessing.
Okay, Sean. What's this?
I could be wrong, but I'm fairly certain that's the USS Saratoga that was lost at Wolf 359. Sorry, right. I'm wrong.
Right.
Lost to the cetacean probe.
Right. Stuart, should I just hang up on him? I feel like he's done a poor job.
We got a few super chats.
Oh, good.
Take a break. SWTX Chaser throws in $5.
Thank you.
What if they went back in time and tried to destroy Starfleet by creating Control, and now we'll try it again? I have two things to say to that. 1 and 2. No Control bullshit.
We'll go to that plan next. Yeah.
John, you want to comment on that?
Thank you very much for your question, which was very much respected by at least some of us here. Listen, I don't hate the idea because I obviously didn't love the execution of Control. So if you've got this idea of this big massive virus, there's something else can be done with it. Obviously, I don't like the idea of it becoming the Borg, but hey, if it was going to be that, maybe you can regroup and do something else with it. Sure. It is currently a terribly wasted idea. Why not? Why not that? Because right now it's just this open kind of, oh, that's the thing. We just won't ever talk about it, so it never happened. Dominion War never happened. Changelings don't exist.
Yeah. Well, we got a few more super chats. I am Misi, $5. In the original Admiral Janeway timeline from Endgame, Chakotay died as soon as Voyager got back, so it would be another future. Yes.
Yeah.
There's multiple ones. We know that.
Yeah, we've seen Visitor, we've seen All Good Things, we've seen Endgame. 3 alternate futures of the same badge. And in fairness, Sean, do go and watch our episode on it when it comes out. They're actually not it's actually not the same badge as All Good Things badge. It's actually a different badge.
It's different. They altered it a bit.
Is it just? I have a question. Are there any more super chats before I ask the?
Yeah, there's 2 more. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
We'll get those real quick. Sean O'Sullivan puts in €2. It says simple explanation, wibbly wobbly, timey wimey.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Simple.
Absolutely. Patrick James throws in a $10 super chat. Thank you so much. I want to be emotionally vested into what I see. I am still waiting for that moment in Prodigy. Maybe I'm just way too old. Sigh. I'm emotionally invested.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to seeing how this plays out for sure. So
I'm there now. It took me a while with Dal. That was my consistent for the season. I am there now.
Yes.
But it did take me a few episodes. I will.
Well, as you're starting to like him, he does something stupid, and you're like, oh man.
Yeah. Yeah, a little bit.
Okay, so what's your question, Sean?
So the comm badge. So because the Picard comm badge of the 2390s is, I thought that was like if you had chopped off the top of the bars of the Endgame and All Good Things badge. That's effectively that comm badge. Is this? Would you say then this is something like a middle ground between maybe Picard and All Good Things?
Could be.
They haven't finished sanding it down yet.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. The bars are a little different on the top. So
the only problem obviously being that comm badge from future. Why would they override their comm badge with the comm badge from the future? Which goes in. And come on, Temporal Prime Directive. Don't use a future comm badge.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that too.
Like,
Plus, they had the Voyager badges in the flashback with Raffi and Admiral Picard.
Yeah, so they go back to them.
And
this is why, we've been called out for this once or twice because they have released several statements about these things, saying things like, this is a present-day Janeway, blah, 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 blah. But the thing is, they did, when they asked about Captain Chakotay, they said he was not Captain Protostar. He was the Captain Protostar, but it was that, from a different point, Luke, Obi-Wan didn't kill your father, blah, blah, that whole thing. Because from a certain perspective, he's not the captain now, and that's what we're answering. It's like, that's a lie, though, sort of, really, not really. And so anything they say now is like, if that's a spoiler for episode 27, they're not going to tell you now at episode 10. And so I'm not going to take, if we learn that Joey's from a third alternate timeline and we see alternate Voyager episodes and alternate shit, and that's a massive plot point, they're not going to reveal it now.
Yeah, of course,
so they're more comfortable saying, no, it is now. They've already proven a deception is for spoilers because it's such an intricate, it's not Lower Decks where things go just forward. There's complexity here. So I'm not going to take anything and say at face value because they've already been deceitful for spoilers. And I love that. Brilliant. It's like Khan, don't spoil it,
Exactly. Yeah, it's part of the fun of the marketing of it, because then you can look back and go, maybe all the tidbits were there, but we didn't know how to put them together. It's like being given a jigsaw puzzle without the picture.
Well, it's like, Sean, there's only one Spider-Man in the recent Spider-Man film. They told us that every interview.
I love that by the end of it, they were just like, just.
So they are allowed to lie for marketing. Yeah. So let's not count that as canon.
Somebody on Twitter has sent us that article a few times, and I responded because they said today we watched some of your recent breakdown videos and you're not really including any of this stuff, and I said, well, basically that they're misleading for marketing to avoid spoilers. So we kind of theorize in a vacuum. We don't really want to take that information in when we theorize because we want to kind of pretend we didn't read that, which is hard to do sometimes. But it makes it more fun, makes it more interesting, and you're more likely to maybe catch on to something that they're trying to point us away from. So,
do you know what? Actually, I think probably the three of us we're in a situation where people, when we theorize, obviously we love theorizing in a vacuum, and I love chatting like this, but I think that when people come to us, there's a certain level of, well, come on now, lads, we expect us to have done the reading, we expect us to have gone through every single interview, and there is a degree of fairness. We do present ourselves as having as much information as we possibly can, but we're fans too. We do like theorizing like this and having a bit of fun. But on the 17th of March 2021, when Aaron cocked his eyebrow in a certain way, I feel that means
yeah, exactly. And it's fun to go back and watch our speculation videos, watch what they said, and then see how it actually plays out, because usually the truth is somewhere in the middle.
Well, I was spoiled with one Discovery season 1 plot element, like from a person behind the show without context, but I knew it. But anything could have happened, and if I'd said that on Trekyards, it would totally change the vibe of the show, because we'd had this is going to happen. So even knowing one tidbit can totally change your whatever, and so we've got to, it's like the idea of, is Janeway at the end in the present? They don't even say that, because if you're from the future, you might have,
Mm-hmm.
their present.
Well, yeah, exactly. But the relativity can scan the timeline, so and the proto drive might be so powerful that you can scan across years. In theory, there might be something there, or maybe they're sending they've opened a wormhole into the past and they're scanning through it. There's other things you could say, so they don't need to be in the present for that to work even.
There's actually, funny enough, I know we've mentioned a kind of other franchise a couple of times. Doctor Who has a good episode that deals with this kind of trying to place timelines, and it's actually I'm fairly certain it's Angels Take Manhattan, and it's Amy and Rory and the Doctor trying to sort out, hang on, how much time has it actually been that we've been traveling this? We think it's been 10 years for us. And as you say, like Sam, the relativity, sure, it's a 26th century ship. 29th, sorry, yes. Enterprise J is 26. Yes, there we go. Okay, 29th century ship. Grant, so it's from the 29th century, but it never spends any time there. So it can very easily timelines can start to get confusing. Yes, there is one poor person sitting in a console going, all right, hang on, which version of you are you? Right, you're from this place at this time. I can imagine things starting to get very confusing and different.
And let's be fair, the relativity time police are the worst at their jobs in Star Trek.
Always drunk.
They should have showed up multiple times.
Yeah. The Department of Temporal Investigations exists because those guys can't do their jobs.
But the problem is they also know what happened in the first timeline. So they know what was meant to happen. So we only see the things that weren't meant to happen that they're there to stop. So
That's true.
Endgame was always meant to happen because it always did happen. Because it was always meant to happen. And I mean, I guess they could have unhappened it, but then that would change their own past. You know, it's like Loki. Like, there is a version of reality that is, in essence, the main reality. And this is why things like Discovery Season 3 and 4 can't exist, because if Endgame was changed, that still did change the future. What happened the first time? Like, you can't have had Discovery Season... Like, the very first timeline was Control killed everybody. After they stopped that, then the future happened, and then you had reality. Like, there's all these things where, you know, yeah.
They policed their own timeline, which there are multiple timelines, multiple realities, multiple split-offs, so it's hard to say, honestly.
But if I'm right, we did see a relativity badge in the combadge wall. No, we did, yeah, because they saw one for Braxton's. They have knowledge of it, which is recanonizing they do exist. And better be in bloody Picard, that guy. He better be the freaking same character!
Fingers crossed, yeah.
Yeah. Feed Me Seymour says, question, was Voyager J created before or after the burn? Way before. Way before. It was 26th century. The burn happened 100
Voyager
years
J,
before.
not Enterprise J.
Oh. Voyager J.
Voyager J. Yeah, I was thinking Voyager J is rocking around in 32nd century. Enterprise J is 26th century.
Yeah, so sorry. I read Enterprise J because I'm an idiot. But yeah, Voyager J could have been created before the burn, I think, because it was already sitting there.
You'd assume they're not building brand new ships and they can't fuel them.
Yeah.
So I'd assume they wouldn't build a single ship after they barely could repair their own. So I'd assume it's like probably brand new just before the burn.
Yeah. Chris Gwillem throws in £4.50 and says money. Live long and prosper. Thank you for the money. Yeah, appreciate it.
So what do you think then, Sean, of the timeline? When does your gut say that Janeway is from at the end?
I would say definitely early 25th century. That's what I'm getting. Now, I could be totally wrong, but that's I'm putting my money on early 25th century. After I know I hear everyone who is shouting 2383 at the screen. I hear you, but I think
and it just occurred to me,
2383 is when the show takes place. It's not where. That's where they escape and find the protostar and all that. Yeah.
That's what Sean means. He means that she's from now, today.
Yeah, like that's if there's a crux point, which is where the protostar is. I'm just going to say wherever the protostar is right now, that's where the show is happening. So that's 2383. So we assume the protostar goes to proto warp, and that's what Janeway picks up then in the last scene. I suppose it would be such an easy bait and switch if like, oh no, actually that was them pulling into space dock 50 years later. Oh, there's Chakotay. How are you getting on? Are you well? You're looking well, Janeway. No problem.
There's one thing that occurred to me, actually. We're obviously using she's not got much grey hair as an indicator of age.
So,
okay.
Right. I will hold my hand up. Yes, I absolutely did say that. I said yes because we have Endgame Janeway, who obviously totally silver head of hair, and I'm the first one to say.
But didn't look very much older though, as if they filmed the same day.
Crazy that. But also, then you have Encounter at Farpoint. You have Admiral McCoy is 137 years old, so the human lifespan, as we understand it, basically meaningless. So, and also, hey, if I want to get a bit of nip tuck when I grow up, that's my business, you know. So, yeah, she could be any age, and I wouldn't mind if she's not your standard human age, because we see it today. If a healthy human being is left to their own devices, we could live comfortably into our, I say comfortably, like we would be running a marathon, but into our 90s, you know, and that's in 2022. So,
well, with animated, everything's intentional. So
I was going to say, but visually, yeah, we're made to see she has a streak of grey. The last time we saw her with grey hair, it's Endgame. It's 26 years after the events of Endgame Prime.
It's 2404.
2404. Yeah, because it takes 16 years to get home after the hub. So. 2404, as I said, 2404. But yeah, and so I suppose the gods of hair color tell us, it's before that anyway.
Because again, it's for us to know. Okay, she's older than present day Janeway. She's got the same hairstyle as old Janeway, but that tells us that. However, and it only occurred to me while we're talking about it, you got to look at the endgame Janeway is a result of that timeline where she lived another 17 or so years in a constantly worsening scenario of life and death.
Very stressful. Yeah.
Her friends had died, her family died, and then she got back, and then she'd had a career after that, and it's as well as being 30 years later than what we saw in or 25, 30, whatever. So that is going to be different. So now she's got home 16 years earlier. She could still be the same age, give or take a year or two, and just not be that diminished. Yeah. Or, in a similar vein, hair colour is such a choice. Are you joking? I mean, Patrick is bald, Picard's bald because of choice. He could have a head of hair if he wanted to. Beep, 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 hair. So you can say Endgame Voyager, Janeway, maybe she just wanted to look older for strength. This Janeway's more young at heart, even though she's 68, only 5 years younger. So there's so little, you can't, besides older, you can't use that as evidence that she's only 3 years after Nemesis that she suddenly got a streak of grey. Because they live different lives. When Grey's going to set is going to be totally different anyway.
To follow on from your point there, and again, it being such a deliberate choice, if you think any discussion of the casting of and creation of Jean-Luc Picard, you within a sentence, it will come up with, initially Gene Roddenberry didn't want any bald people in the future. And it's always followed with, Patrick Stewart got the part. Gene was asked the same question again. He says, by the 24th century, people won't care. And it's a well known quote. It's always dropped out to the point where it seems to be kind of like, it's not the first thing you think of when you think of behind the scenes of Star Trek, but it's certainly there when it comes to the creation of a character. And so it's both such a deliberate choice to include a streak of grey and also be like, oh, well, she wouldn't care anyway. I don't know. I feel like the character of Catherine Janeway is doomed to have people discussing her hair for all time.
Well, she only one to ever change it 27 times in her existence. No one else changed it.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, is there anyone else? I mean, like, if Cisco, one change of hair. That was it.
Hair? The no hair. That was the
perfect.
His hair migrated. It just went down.
Which the irony is that he also literally chose to be bald because he had to shave his head every day or other day. So that was literally a choice of the actor and of the character, actually. I never considered that. So, God, they should have shown Patrick's like just turns up with hair. It's like, I want to try it for a day. It's like, wow, sir, doesn't suit you.
Well, fine. Tried a beard for a day, so
exactly. So I think
the Geordie actually.
Geordie had his affectation.
Yeah. So I think just it's a red herring of what this is. It's a beautiful uniform, which is we did a breakdown. It is just the All Good Things uniform, but the top is now colored black, and the collar is very slightly different. It is almost identical. So it's a derivation of that uniform. It's not an evolution from First Contact or from Lower Decks. It is a derivation of the future uniform, which that with the badge tells us they're from the future. Logically, all of the visual hints are there. But then you've got the fact that she's got Chakotay's crew on board. Those are the 3 officers we haven't met yet, but we've been told about. So his crew know her, she knows him, he went back in time. They obviously coexist in the same timeline, and we know the Protoss from the future because they had to go back. So, but when, because it'd be really fun if this is if they were post Picard, because then they get to invent new canon, but also if the Protostars and they're. Because I remember a tweet where Aaron said, aborted timelines happen all the time, which to me said the Protostar came from a timeline that's now been changed, potentially long since changed. Because they'll change it by changing the planet. And so she's just another Janeway from another timeline. I love that. I love the idea of just another Janeway in the timeline doing her own thing. And to her, even though she's gone back in time, her friend is the most important thing. She'll worry about her own timeline after she finds her friend, because that's what she's now here for. That to me is interesting. Even if she's not the current day Janeway, I really like that. So she's an alternate. That means she's a loose cannon. We didn't mind if future Janeway died because she was an alternate. So you introduce another alternate, boy, and another future ship, boy. The hell could this mean?
And the most appropriate super chat ever, Troy Macy, $5. To quote Captain Janeway, temporal mechanics gives me a headache.
Haha, yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah. Sean, you looked a little confused when he said that she's got Chakotay's crew, but there's the Tellarite, the Andorian, and the Trill.
Oh, you picked up on that. I thought I hid my mask because I have to say, I was like, oh, you're absolutely right. Of course, they're standing there on the bridge.
Yeah.
And apparently the guy at the back station is a Vulcan who looks a little bit like Tuvok from the side. So it'd be cool to have a reveal of Tuvok on the ship as well.
That would be fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, we thought internally Kim should be like a second in command.
No, wait, no. Kim is sitting down on deck 15. He's trying to disprove that theorem because he's got. At this point, he has given up trying for the promotion. I swear, I know the joke has been made. I want Ensign Kim, aged 50 odd, to turn up in lower decks.
Lower decks.
And it still wouldn't necessarily affect Prodigy canon if they do decide to bring him in as a higher rank in Prodigy. If I'm increasingly liking this theory of that it's from the future, from an alternate. But I just need to see him suffer once more, or maybe just have, like, you know, congratulations, Lieutenant Tendi. Are you kidding me? But
Eric the Bat says that guy left of Janeway is very much in a lower decks uniform.
Nope.
He's not though.
No,
not
is this the
Watch our
Tellarite
uniform
who's on the bridge?
video. Yeah, there's a Tellarite on the behind Janeway. Wearing an actual different uniform, like an engineer's or medical uniform.
And it was really fun on our live to be able to literally name these characters by full name. You know, the Ensign, the Trill, the Jace Alexander actress, the lady that the Good Place lady plays. Like, it's fun. Oh, those are those people. No, okay, no credits this week. That's okay.
So I wonder, because obviously these are well-known factors. I mean, will we open the next section of the season on the Dauntless? I wonder, or are we going to wait another few episodes until we get another end of the episode? It's like, you know, please give us more.
We've said that so many times. They'll throw that in. It'll be fully the kids doing something. They're so piecemeal that if you think it's going to be that satisfying, it's not, because they have a 40-episode plan to play.
That's it, yeah.
And that's happened 4 or 5 times. Like literally, when Chakotay reveal, we assumed, okay, next week there'll be a flashback. You'll see Kim on the captain's chair, and it'll be first scene. Nope, barely even in the episode. It's like, oh, we're gonna beam cake instead, pie. It's like, oh,
yeah.
But where's the Chakotay plot that we care about? Oh, pie.
Well, it's funny because I mean, you're so right, but Chakotay means nothing to the kids. It means something to Janeway.
Yes.
It doesn't mean anything to the kids. So I guess I can. Yeah, I guess I didn't mind that so much.
Well, it's for the fans, but like you said in a reference, the kids who are now watching it fresh, they don't care. But obviously, we as fans are like, well, this is more important than the entire show almost. Showing Chakotay on the bridge, that is, these kids are. Who cares? Like, in a sense, like, this is important, but you know, we didn't get
Just
that.
thinking of Mars Star Part 2. Gwen potentially almost lost her mind. Show me Chakotay. I'm so sick of this people we've been following for the last 10 episodes. No. That's not why I'm here.
Well, in fairness,
some Akuchi Moya up in this house, okay?
In fairness, we were here originally for the kids, but the amount of canon they've thrown in, it's like, well, we're going to see a genuine Admiral Janeway kicking butt. Who the hell knows who else we're going to see? You know? And I did say that from the first time. So if we're going to see Admiral, I said we're going to see both Janeways. If you've got Kate on staff, you're not going to have her not play present Janeway. You're going to come out to her office and she'll be there. Not quite the same thing, but 100%, because there's no skin off her back to have her just play both.
Yeah. We got a few super chats, and I want to raise the like goal. We're at 100 now. So
I'm going to go for a super P then while you read super chats.
Go for it. So I want to get another 20 likes. Mediocre P would have been fine, but hey, you know.
Let him dream. Let him dream.
Hit that like button, guys. Let's get up to 120. Dave throws in £5 and says, how does this Janeway uniform compare to the season 2 Picard uniform at the Academy? Addressed in the trailer. Where would it sit? Think Teal'c and his hair. Yeah, absolutely. Well, we have a video. I don't know if it's out yet. I think it's out today. I'm not even sure the schedule. Goddamn. Anyway, we have a video talking about the uniform and comparing it to a bunch of other ones. So I would say just check that out. Samuel knows where it fits in the timeline. That's kind of his thing. He likes the uniforms. So. General Grievous, $2. Admiral Janeway to Senior Ensign Kim, status report.
Oh, brilliant!
A new rank created just for.
I love that.
I am Misi, $5. Admiral Janeway is going to ask them where Chakotay is, and they are not going to know. Should be fun. Who's Chakotay? What?
Like, you're kind of like, oh, what a nice ship you kids are on. Get off.
SWTX Chaser throws in $5 and says Kim gets promoted to Fleet Ensign.
I love this. I love this so much.
That's so good, yeah.
As in, he is the ensign on every ship. So whenever he steps on board, everyone just tells him what to do. Brilliant.
Maybe he became ensign commander, which is just right under lieutenant.
Ensign commander. I'm okay with that. Yeah, I'm okay with that.
Oh man. Darth Maul says, would Naomi Wildman make an appearance at some point in Prodigy?
But she certainly could. I think by 2283 she certainly could have graduated the academy at this point.
Yeah, she's in Star Trek Online, so.
Oh, perfect. Yeah.
Yeah. Chaotis 1, thank you, throws in $10. I'm still sad the last scene was on the Dauntless and not the USS Aventine. I was hoping they would pull a lower decks with the Titan.
I hear ya. I would love to see the Aventine arrive. I really would.
Yeah, well, hearing from Aaron, was talking to him the other day, and he said that the reason they use in the Dauntless design, which is altered based on the original scans, is because it's the only ship that had slipstream. Which, if you want to catch the protostar, you need something faster. So, not faster than the protostar, but just faster than a standard Starfleet vessel.
Exactly. Yeah, that works for me. Did you? I mean, I'm sure you guys have already probably discussed this, but it looked like a Dauntless Sternbach Voyager hybrid.
Yeah, the original design for Voyager. Yeah, but we've done a whole ship video on Saturday talking about the differences and yeah.
And just briefly, Naomi Wildman would not have been in Starfleet. She's only 12 at this point.
Really?
She
grows faster though.
She grows faster. Yeah, they skipped the initial aging because they wanted the actress, but she was born on Voyager only a few years if she's 12. Because in Star Trek Online that's another 15 years in the future, so she's just 12.
Okay.
Might have done research for something else on that, so yeah.
There you go.
Okay.
For his fan film.
Look, I love Sean's like, oh yeah, she's probably graduating Starfleet from now. I'm like,
Actually, wasn't Wesley about 7 and he was in his 3rd year of the academy or something, or as is my understanding of times.
I realized he was listening to us while he was peeing.
Well, I have to, because he'll still say things about me.
Samuel is the best person ever.
I'm here now. It doesn't work. Wait, what?
He's the best commander.
Thank you.
He's our commander ensign. Is what he is. That's how great he is.
Commander of the ensigns. Yes.
SVS Guru 2000 throws in €5. Ensign Kim will serve with and be outranked by his own kid. Ooh, that's harsh.
I can't say it's wrong though.
Well,
go to your room. I outrank you.
Anyway.
So what do you think, seeing the USS Dauntless in that last scene then? What was that for you?
For me, I enjoyed it. Now, I enjoyed it for the fan baitingness of it. As you say, kind of to repeat what you've said a few times, that was purely for Voyager fans. That was purely people who'd come along. It was the exact design almost of Bridge.
The bridge is the chairs are the only thing that's different. It's obscenely close.
So I really, really liked seeing it, and it was just different enough that we know. Well, obviously it's not the Dauntless. That's somewhere now in Borg space, but and for me it helped because there was that. Well, it was a gag, really, that little Easter egg in Azati Prime where you see the Dauntless fighting.
Yeah.
And yeah, why wouldn't they? Because in fairness to Arturus, he was nefarious, but he designed a bloody good starship. You know, why wouldn't you bring that back? You know, like actually, you know, kind of, well, let's see, we could make another variation of the Miranda class, or we could try something different.
Miranda, refit.
Yeah.
Well, I've always considered the Dauntless.
Now with less explodium.
There's still the same amount of rocks, though. Interior, we're not going to change. Exterior.
Have we moved on to the funneled fire of Discovery yet? Have we got to that?
God. The amusement park ride.
Yes, it's truly embarrassing. They should be embarrassed of themselves for that. Anyway, that's a whole thing.
Awful.
So I always think about Taurus is there's one or two ways to look at that scenario, for me anyway. One, his ship looked like that anyway, and he just remodified the interior. I mean, he repainted it fine. Like the exit is just a paint job, which it's different and similar. Okay, yeah, and there's plenty of things happen to cells, so it's not the end of the world. I prefer the idea that he was a very smart man in the episode. That's the entire point. He He literally created a brand new message of the Admiral and then destroyed it, but enough to be recompiled. It's very, very clever. I like the idea that he said, okay, I've got these scans of Voyager, I've got whatever he'd do to get the background research, which he did, obviously. He designed what a future... He had to outthink them. What sort of design would they believe? So he had to literally say, here's the tech, I'm going to design a more advanced ship than they've got, but believable. And so when the Voyager... Because they have to scan it and think, oh yeah, of course we designed this. It's got Jeffrey's tube and it's got... Everything is there. Because they wouldn't believe it. And so he kind of outthought the designers. So when the scans come home to Earth, they're like, huh.
This is the next thing on our drawing board. But this is more advanced.
We already have five of these design elements. The hell, because he was outthinking them. He was seeing that revolution of a version of then Slipstream, obviously. So I prefer that it is a genuine evolutionary track of what might have happened because he had to think that far ahead. And so when they come, obviously tracks were genuinely different because Voyager owned this much tech. And so the design said, well, actually, we haven't done the Slipstream bullshit, and that's really specific, and we like that. Well, that worked. Let's just make our own version because we've got our own tech. Let's do our own things. Don't know why the bridge is identical because it's fun. That makes less sense than the exterior. But it's well, yeah, let's try our own version. Even if it's just one, let's do a test bed. And then Admiral Janeway's like, well, this ship is fast. I need fast. I'm stealing it. And I was like, what?
Oh, you reckon she's stolen it?
No. Insisted that she have it. She's an admiral.
Well, we have precedent with Admiral Riker.
Yeah,
so,
I mean,
Admiral gets to choose their own ship.
This is mine now. What? Sorry? Yeah, I'm captain now. But also, she had to bring. She also had to bring her. She had to bring Chakotay's crew on, etc., etc.
Which is interesting how his crew got with her. Like Chakotay's the only one that didn't make it back.
I kind of assume they escape podded before he went into the time vortex because there's only 3 escape pods left in episode 3 with the sun, and it's like there should be more than 3 escape pods in a ship this big. But they never say there's not more than 3. It's just 3 that were there to be launched. So I think they escape pod and the captain stays behind. Yeah.
Captain goes out with however many examples of that you want. Yeah. Or maybe he had every intention of getting off and then whoops.
The robot
knocks behind you.
Yeah. Well, and especially if... Because they're obviously referencing 09 here. It's an 09 plot, but with a new coat of paint. So if simple... And we know they found an anomaly of some kind or a thing, because he says we're going to go into this thing. So even if they're being chased by the Diviner, say, his ship, Dreadnought beams aboard, smart, and he's flying towards it for whatever reason. But there's also the Dauntless is nearby. They're chasing it as well. They're like seconds away. The escape pods launch. He goes through the time portal, so does the Diviner. The escape pods get picked up by Dauntless as a portal's closing, or the anomaly. So Janeway goes through as well, but because of time mechanics, because, the mass of the ships going through first time changed the mass of the anomaly. She goes through 17 years later, which then changed. Because you should just go straight after them. Why not? I'm here to save you. This is my chance.
Well, in fairness, and that's where you can bring in Discovery season 2. Michael is 5 seconds ahead of Discovery. Yep. She arrives a year before.
Exactly.
So, yeah, perfect. And of course, as you say, 09 as well.
It's just a bit of a coincidence that she's then right around the same time as a pro warp starts to be done, because she doesn't feel like I've been in this fucking present for 19 months.
This is my last cup of coffee.
Yeah.
We're out of coffee!
Find a nebula, damn it.
If we don't pick him up today, we've discovered him.
How
much coffee do we have? How badly do we want to find this guy?
We lost 2 years of our lives, Admiral. Yeah, but I've done 44 jigsaw puzzles. I'm doing really well in my life. I'm doing well. Look at my grades. I look at the aging of this timeline.
We got some super chats. Let's get to those. Kyrian Spores puts in £2.
Thank you.
Says, do you think Janeway will command the Protostar? Maybe temporarily, but no, I don't really think so.
Not long term, yeah. She might. In fact, I think we will see her on the ship, but not long term.
This next one is great. I love this super chat. SPS Guru 2000 puts in €20. Oh. So first of all, thank you for that.
Thank you, amazing.
But says, my theory, the Protostar is about to rendezvous with the Dauntless. Gets hailed by Janeway. At that moment, Gwen remembers the weapon. They run away, and Janeway gives chase. She'll be the antagonist for the foreseeable future. I kind of like that.
Oh,
because
yeah.
To save their ship, they would just warp or Protostar away again. She's got Slipstream, so she can kind of keep up more so than a regular ship would. Still be quite a bit behind them. And yeah, the next 10 episodes are her trying to get in contact with them somehow.
So that's gonna be the issue, is that they can't contact each other. It's the Batman v Superman issue. If they had one line of dialogue between each other, exactly, yeah. If Janeway hails them and says, "Hello, this is Admiral Martha," boom, no, you've got no antagonist.
Why'd you say that?
They can't have any contact. If they can get away with that and not have contact, then yes, that can work. But then hologram Janeway is surely going to be like, well, I like me, so I might have a word with me, or oh, we can't talk to da 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 da. I'm not saying it's impossible, but there's going to be a challenge in writing that.
Although, to a brief side note, we've already, and I don't approve of this really, but we've already shown that hologram Janeway will choose this non-Starfleet crew over her own Starfleet regulations now. So if real Janeway comes in and says, "Hey, stop," and she's like, "Oh, they're firing our ship," I'll vote with this non-Starfleet crew over literally me, because I'm here to protect them, and that overrides all of my other. So I can see her not siding just because of the nature of
Well, didn't Gwynn update her?
Oh,
Also that too.
Yes.
Yeah. Self-awareness might now be there. Because boy, when you rewatch the season, Janeway's really stupid. The hologram is she makes so many bad decisions.
When you rewatch it, you can tell it's just a program.
Really stupid. Like bad.
More super chats though. General Grievous, $5.
General Deadlock.
Wonder if the writers will go back to the aborted arc in Resolutions and have Chakotay and Janeway get together. It felt more natural than Chakotay.
That's my answer to that. I respect JC shipping. I am not a member of JC shipping.
Nice. SWTX Chaser, who's been a member for 24 months at the rank of Commander, so thank you. Says, Admiral Janeway, look at me. I'm the captain now. That's exactly what I thought when whoever said that line the first time said it.
I'm sorry, that was brilliant.
Ozzy Medeiros, $2. You guys to your room. Federation president.
He's a president, you see.
He's one of our Federation presidents on subscription to the channel. Hit that join button, guys, and check out the subscription amounts. Chaotis 1 throws in $10.
Thank you.
Says, no wonder Picard hates kids. They stole my ship. Get off my ship.
Yeah, I mean, maybe we've just completely misunderstood the diviner the whole time.
Yeah.
Just hates kids.
Oh, yeah. It's fair.
So shall we talk about the official plan? And Sean, the reveal, the Diviner's grand master plan. While the ship is under attack from phaser fire, he casually talks to Gwynn, despite knowing this is the single saving part for his entire species, yet he just doesn't try and defend the ship, which is another plot hole element.
Yeah, the ship doesn't rock while they're in the holodeck or anything. It's just...
Why would it?
All right. Well...
Because Star Trek.
Before we get to that, quick, there's another super chat that just came in. I don't want to miss it. SPS Guru, €2,005. 7 should have hooked up with Harry Kim. It would have been an interesting dynamic. Hell yeah.
Did you say 7?
7.
Yeah. I thought you said Sullivan. I was like, what? From Sullivan's Pub?
Fairhaven had a very alternate script. That would have
been a good dynamic.
That would have been the trilogy arc. So yeah, that plan, the Diviner's plan. What did you think of it as represented? Like, just give us your thought process as he presented. We'll discuss it in a minute.
Okay, not slating it. I just thought it was so easily stoppable, or so easily it was for this grand baddie who had been built up as, well, obviously he was the big bad of the season, more or less, and although he got barely any variation in his lines, the way John Noble played him, very grand, very, to be respected, that his plan was, I'm going to send a tweet to another starship, which will then send a tweet to another starship, and we'll have a cascade. It just was a bit of a damp squib. It didn't really pan out for me. I didn't feel like there was any oomph to this plan.
So when you got to that scene, were you on a roller coaster and they just sort of did you feel this wasn't impressive at the moment, or is it more?
Literally, this is so. My face there was kind of like, oh, and then there was, as we said at the very beginning of this, I said, so why did he bother chasing the kids at all? They were heading to Starfleet. They were doing his job for him. Now, some people have made the thing that maybe he had the activation key or something. Yeah. So okay, all right, but please tell us that, because if you don't show him with the activation key, they were on the way to do his job.
Although he didn't know that, in fairness, he may have thought Gwen would do that, but they may not have done that because she's a prisoner as far as he knows. Why would they go to? They don't know what the Federation is.
Okay.
And there's no reason to think that Janeway would appear to them without, because he obviously knew Janeway, but not enough to think. So there's no specific reason to go to the Federation, but that's the risk, isn't it?
Yeah. And the thing that I said too is they're not going to jump right into the heart of Starfleet and infect space dock and like 15 other ships in orbit. It's going to meet one ship, maybe in the middle of nowhere, maybe at the edge of Federation territory. That's not going to automatically cascade to other ships. Usually, you can imagine when two ships meet up, there's like a digital or an electric handshake, like, hey, we're both Federation ships. Here's our updated logs, whatever, blah, blah, blah. That could be encrypted in that. But that's not going to go much further than that. All of a sudden, that ship's going to start firing at this ship. And then the crew is going to be like, what's happening? There's a virus, sir. Well, then we should probably fix that. That's an episode of TNG, for Christ's sakes. It would be resolved pretty quickly. Unless the ship just starts warping to the next Federation ship. But they still got lots of time to fix it while they're at warp. It's a stupid plan.
It is. The only way for it that I can see for it to work is that there has to be an instant fleet-wide link. A bit like,
which is not. That's not possible though.
Not the way the Federation and Starfleet are set up. It's a variation on Endgame, on Admiral Janeway infecting the Collective, but at least in the Collective's point of view, it was an instant link between every single drone, because it went into the unit complex, then brings chaos to order. That to me is what this plan reminded me of, but they didn't have the collective mind to execute that.
Hadn't even considered that. That's interesting. Well, I mean, if also the Divine is from the Delta Quadrant, and that, we have no evidence to say he is, but let's say he is for a second, then maybe it's hard to be in the Delta Quadrant and not know what the Borg are. So he might be like, fuck these guys, let's take a page out of Everyone Hates the Borg playbook. Well, they were a threat decades ago because they've already, whatever. That's interesting. This
is like the Iconian thing in TNG, though. This is the virus that destroyed the sister ship of the Enterprise.
Well, that brings us...
Was it the Yamato?
Yamato, yeah.
Well, in fact, that brings us... And I noticed this during the thing. So, okay, the plan. But let's be honest. The best case for most killing version of the plan is just Discovery Season 2. Which is the Control AI came back from the future, infected the Section 31 ships, spread to other ships, killed the crew, had the ships. So in that sense, it could, as soon as you kill the crew, there's no one sending out, because they would be able to stop the virus. But you can instantly kill them with gas, with space, turn off their life support. So that, I'm assuming, is the plan, in which case you'll end up having this dead fleet of Federation ships, which you might have to be within 50,000 kilometers, and you might only get, say, 70 ships before people start working out. But now you've got a fleet of 70 ships, and then they can just run rabid. So that is a decent plan. But the idea of destroying the Federation with a fleet of dead ships that are not going to be able to repair themselves because you've got no repair crews. If you, just like BSG, you'll be able to work out with non-affecting the virus relatively quickly. That's the whole point of Starfleet. That said, if it's a virus from 2450, we saw what Future Voyager Tech did. It wrecked the Borg like they were little bitches. And so if a future virus, well, surely nothing we have could stop it because it's a mega future virus. That said, it's invented by a race that wasn't very advanced mostly, but it could be a Ferengi virus. We don't know, you just bought it.
Sure, yeah.
So it could be a biological element to it as well.
Yeah, well, maybe all ships have binaural.
Something through the air vents or something. Turn the crew.
But you know what I mean? It just sounds like Discovery Season 2 again. Plus 2009. It doesn't feel overly original, and that's the best case if it kills the crew, which is a horrible situation. But if it just murders... And then you've now got a situation where... Do you really want to see now 10 Federation ships fighting the Protostar, where you just know that that's a lot of people you just killed?
Unless, I mean, plot twist. Say it's a broadcast message to all, and it's Zero. He is the carrier. He is the weapon.
Go on.
All it is just, so we don't know as it stands. I mean, if you're, well, we do know, sorry, if you wear the, okay, so potential problem with my idea. If you wear the visor, you can look at a Medusan. But even then, it's not 100%.
Yeah.
You know, so
what
what
just
happens if you're not...
broadcast it on all screens.
Just broadcast on all screens. And is the weapon on the Protostar, like, I suppose any ship can do a fleet-wide if anyone's nearby. Think about, you know, generally we see them when they're nearby, battles. You know, a DS9, Sector 001, that kind of thing. Oh, what's on the view screen? Put it up there. Shit, wish I hadn't done that.
Well, it's like Hypnotoad.
It's oh my god, it is exactly like Hypnotoad. Yeah.
And we all love Hypnotoad. Now, it's interesting, although that just makes them all mad. And a mad crew is not necessarily, based on what we've seen previously in Trek, the Diviner ain't destroying starships. Why would a mad captain order a mad crew member to start attacking other mad ships? That's not truly ground.
Self-destruct, though.
They could.
Yeah.
But at that point, if the crew's mad, just launch some torpedoes at them. At that point, they're not defending themselves.
Yeah.
But that isn't creating this grand scope of... Because it kind of felt like his plan was, like, set a virus where it said it will destroy the Federation. That plan does not destroy the Federation in almost any variation that we can think of. Now, that said...
Maybe he causes the burn.
We don't speak about the burn.
That said, who is to say that he's telling the truth?
Of course.
Is that,
I mean, that's
a good curveball, though, if he's just flat out lying about stuff?
Or telling or using the truth, or using the truth to tell a lie.
Yeah.
You know, what if Gwyn is the weapon? Obviously, I'm just cycling through the cast of Prodigy here, but, you know, if Dreadnought was against creating Gwyn to begin with, and yet he was like, we're going to create a clone, there will be something in her. Now, what do we know about her so far is that she's lost a bunch of her memories. Now, there was a little bit of a, oh my God, Gwyn's lost her mind, but actually the next day she was fine. But there was just enough ambiguity at the end of the episode that I didn't feel like, whew, that was a scary couple of minutes, wasn't it? So, what is there something more to Gwyn than just the simple fact that she exists? I mean, other than everyone is special in their own way, it's not what I'm saying. But if Dreadnought was so against the creation of a clone, what is it in Gwyn, or the idea of Gwyn, that Dreadnought was so against, that the Diviner was so for? And if the Diviner has been taken off the board, this version of the Diviner, say, is he actually still around somewhat in Gwyn? Like, is she a direct clone of him, except presenting as female? Or is there something else in the mix that, you know...
Well, then, is the Diviner a clone of his father from earlier in the timeline, and therefore they are the weapon, and the difference being is that if we find the Protostar next week, she's too young to be choosing mass murder, whereas you, my lord, are... I'm convinced you're going to commit to this. Obviously, Dreadnought's been there through all iterations of the Diviner, and it's risky to make a new one. You might find it any day now, but he was going to die. You know, he may have died, whatever, because he certainly wanted to be on the. He wanted to get his ship, the Protostar, a sense of ownership. He put the bomb there, whatever. He was obviously going to fly it to Starfleet, then they're done, boom, and start it. So maybe his something with him is the virus, but then. His death will also remove the plan, but I guess that's anyway.
Is he Chakotay?
No, stop.
Oh, good God.
No.
On that note, let's read some super chats for some better ideas. General Grievous, $2. Harry thinks it's a promotion ceremony, LOL.
Oh.
Okay, I don't know what that's based on, but thank you. A Saucy Puppet Show, $5.
Thank you.
Agree with Sean. I'm afraid that they're going to fall into the forced conflict due to lack of communication trope for a while. Yep.
Yeah.
It's one thing that frustrates me about movies, especially romantic comedies and stuff. Just talk to each other.
But you can imagine they might do a thing where the ship warps in and it's a two-prong attack. One, the Protostar disables all communications in like 3 light, because it's future tech, so in 5 light years, except one channel. And so the Starfleet ship says, cycle through. Oh, got one chance, still works. Okay, hail protostar, and that's the death signal. So you could create the no signal communication just by the ship itself. I mean, there's no or even just activating the proto drive disables all communications. Yeah.
Grant McGregor, $10.
Oh, thank you.
My biggest complaint of the series: warp nacelles are blue. In the promotional poster, they are red. Okay, it's fairly, interesting.
Can't say he's wrong.
I've forgotten.
No, he's not. But I mean, if that's the only complaint, that shows it's a good series. So, SPS Guru 2005 euros.
Thank you.
Only way the Diviner's plan could work is if the virus is a Trojan that is hidden and does nothing until it knows about the whole fleet is infected. That I'd buy, but that's going to take a lot of time to get that fleet wide, considering that they've expanded now and they're moving into the Delta quadrants and stuff.
And there does seem to be, like, if it's a way to protect his own people, we know there is a time limit on that.
There's a ticking clock, yeah, for sure.
Well, then you've got to ask this other question, which was, Diviner had to go back in time, intentionally went back in time. So that's not an accident, right? Because he had to stop first contact. When he went back to his we'll see. The Prostar going back in time, was that to stop the Diviner? Was that because any Federation ship could do it in theory, and there's other Federation ships? Who's to say that's the important ship? So once you get, was that time jump intentional? Was the 20 years ago intentional? Because he wanted, originally the plan was to Protostar to Starfleet, be like, hey guys, future ship, send the virus. And because it's a virus now 70 years more advanced, it infects every ship over the next decade. Slowly in the background, ships are built, stuff is transmitted, and then click, boom, destroy. Because why else go so far back?
That's why I kept saying his time was running out, though, I think, when he was searching for the Protostar.
But that scuppers that plan, because then if his plan was this big, grand, slow plan, but then again, he didn't seem that stressed about losing minimum of 17 years of his plan. Minimum. Which you'd think would be quite an important aspect. if like, every day is important, like, at one time, no, we lost 3/4 of it. Jesus Christ.
Maybe his plan is to just turn every ship into the Inquisitor class. Or the Inquiry class. Inquiry class.
The Gen
Every
Hay.
ship looks the same. Yeah, the Gen Hay.
The most powerful Starfleet.
Oh, Jing Hay. The ship we love to hate.
Yes. All right. Super
Thanks,
chat
Stu, I
wise.
like
Eric,
that was good.
Eric
It's like
Martin.
Agent Smith from The Matrix. Pro Star just IFF, so they just
Yeah.
into the Inquisitor.
Exactly.
So then we cut to Picard. As soon as they warp out, they turn, they kill Riker, they come and attack Starfleet. It all connects!
Eric Martin throws in $5. Starfleet would avoid the Diviner's world if they knew about the fallout. His plan is overly complex and not guaranteed to avoid first contact. Yeah. Again, just talk to Starfleet going, hey guys, your first contact messed up my planet. Want to fix that? Thanks.
But if he's had years of resentment, you can imagine you're not going to be nice to the murderers of your race. The difference being, why can't he just then go destroy the ship that was meant to first contact? Because if the ship doesn't come back, okay. But if the ship's in the Delta Quadrant, it could be, well, the ship was lost. If it's in the Alpha Quadrant, then first contact's inevitable. You can't stop it. It's always going to happen. You're too close to planets. Any planet, you know?
In a way, it reminds you almost of the Sphere Builders and the Xindi. You know, had the Xindi sent a message to Earth, lads, are you going to blow up our planet?
Well, we don't know, to be fair.
Yeah, we don't know who you are. We've just, we've seen this level of destruction. We've seen, what we've been shown, and we would like to live very much, please.
Are you guys in the Mirror Universe? 2 boxes, yes, no. Okay. Oh, you're not? Okay, fantastic. Go away, Sphere Builders. Yeah.
General Grievous, $5. Was the weapon armed when Dreadnought was sent to the ship? Possibly.
I did feel there was more coming when Dreadnought went to the ship, to the point where perhaps there still is.
Yeah. Maybe every ship that it contacts just creates a version of Dreadnought, and he starts killing the crew and taking over the ship.
But then
it could be.
But then they've all got our vehicle replicators, and if the Protostars from the future, then the tech might not even exist yet. A basic bitch Miranda ain't having that tech and won't be able to, so that limits you to the most advanced modern
case, it'll
ships.
just infect their systems, and Dreadnought's face is going to show up on every console.
But then he's the virus, and why do you do the ship then? Just warp in the massive Rev 12 and just say, hey guys, use our future, because we know that ship is in the future, so it obviously can override things and pew things.
Just really quick, before you give out about poor Miranda class again, when you've been in service for 130 years, then you can start pointing the finger.
Oh, I always throw in my fan films. That ship's never retiring.
Not a chance. No way.
No. A Saucy Puppet Show puts in $5. Thank
you.
All glory to the Hypnotoad. Yes.
That's fair.
Yes.
And SVS Guru 2000, another €5. Awesome.
Thank you.
I don't think that Gwen is the weapon. If she was, the diviner wouldn't have left her on the the vines on the carnivore planet.
That's true.
You're very right.
Ship over planet.
Right.
Yeah.
I knew there was a reason that was my least favorite episode of the season.
Yeah.
Oh.
But guys, we are $50 away from a beautiful target. How many likes are we away from your beautiful target, Stuart?
We already hit it. We're at 121. So another 9 would be great to get to 130 if you're able. If you haven't hit the like yet, hit it.
I'm going to end this poll and do one more briefly as we start to close out. Blast 50 would be phenomenal. I asked an hour ago, wow, with 165 votes, in a perfect world, which show would you want to watch the next episode of this week? If you could pick one of the 4 shows coming up. Yeah, obviously the question was Prodigy, Picard, Discovery, Strange New Worlds. The winner with 42% is Strange New Worlds.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The runner-up is Prodigy, though. The third is Picard, and the fourth is Discovery at 12%.
Which is next anyway.
So only 16 people voted for the thing we're actually getting.
I actually, to be fair, I am. That would be my order as well. I'm looking for. For my sins, I'm looking forward to Discovery, but I'm obviously super excited for Strange New Worlds. So I have to see.
Lower expectations, trailer. Lower expectations, please. Those sets, man, they're gonna hurt.
Area 51, $5. For the Miranda class, she's got moxie.
Yes, she does. Yes, she
and
does.
Style.
Yeah.
General Grievous, $2. When 130 years old you reach, look as good you will not.
I appreciate the sentiment, but I think she's looking gorgeous. And every again, she gets a facelift. Soyuz class, Miranda class with the roll bar, Antares class, which we don't like to talk about. And then just kind of back to the original Miranda class again.
But with glowing nacelles this time.
Yes, that's true, yeah.
Oh, man. Yeah. So Samuel's doing a new poll, so you guys go vote on that. We need another 5 more likes to get to 130.
And $35 more if we can. Stuart, read out the poll.
I will when it shows up on my end.
Excellent, Stuart. I'm glad we're on the same page.
There we go. Would you serve on a Miranda class? Yes, she's a classic. No, she's a death trap. YOLO. You only live once.
On a Miranda class?
The first thing I would do is I'd get over there, I'd get myself comfortable, I'd change the prefix code.
Yes. Yeah. Very important.
Yes. So, I mean...
Yeah, Sean,
it's hard to tell.
You throw anything you want now out. This is your time.
Well, I will keep my expectations fairly middling for Strange New Worlds, I will say that. I'm absolutely pumped. I think we made this point last week, but I think it bears repeating. Animated Trek was the beautiful surprise that came out of the last couple of years. I wasn't expecting it to be bad, but I did not expect it to be as good as it is. And it has adapted itself. Obviously, it's not the first animated Trek, but it really has adapted itself beautifully to the medium, both the slightly more traditional animation of Lower Decks and the CGI of Prodigy. So if Alex Kurtzman turned around tomorrow and says, no, that's it, season 5 of Discovery is going to be animated, season 3 of Picard is going to be animated, would you have absolute heart failure, or would you be like, yeah, go on, let's give it a go, let's try this experiment?
Well, I wouldn't say I'd be happy about it, but I'd say let's give it a shot. Sure, why not? Can we remove the writers over at the same time? That's the important thing.
I was reading a thing in the chat. I didn't listen. I'm sorry. I thought he was complimenting the shows. Didn't realize there'd be a question at the end.
I was asking.
I was going to say, he was just saying how much he loved the writing of Discovery and Picard. It says, we take everything in animation as long as they wrote everything.
So convert Picard and Discovery to animation. Would you be fine with that?
So that's what I'm saying. Like, say, because it's gone.
I tell you what. let's do this. Let's convert Picard and Discovery to animation. Let's convert Prodigy and Lower Decks into live action.
Perfect.
Give the budgets to each other, and let the better teams make a better show, and the worst teams make a worse show, but animated, so they can get away with it. There you go.
I'd love a Lower Decks in live action. I'd leave Prodigy as it is. I like it. I like it as it is. Do you know what I mean? I think it looks lovely, and it only, for me, I only notice the animation of it all in Janeway, because I watched Kate Mulgrew for 7 years on Voyager, so it's quite obvious to me when she's CGI. Whereas I've only ever seen Dal and Gwyn in CGI, so I'd say no. Yeah. Leave Prodigy.
But you know my thought there. They did such a good job. They kind of deserve it if they, you know.
I'd like to see the characters in live action though. I'd like to see what they look like, how they translate it to live action.
It'd be hard to do, but I mean, come on, Tendi or such appear in Picard. You know, have Mariner be the present day Mariner in Picard. I mean, maybe not Picard, it's not the best show, but like when you do another act of the time, bring him in. It's such an obvious thing to do, and it'd be phenomenal. And she looks close enough, obviously with proper makeup and hair. Yeah. You know.
And Jacob Kinknell says that needs to be a poll, so everybody can vote on it.
Oh.
So get rid of the Miranda poll, 53 vote.
But yes, everyone thinks
it's a classic. 49%.
Oh wow.
No, she's a death trap, 40%, and the YOLO 11%.
Okay, that's pretty split. Okay.
While you're doing that, I'll read the super chat just came in. Chaotis 1 with a $10 Canadian. Thank you. Animated Trek still has hope compared to the rest.
Well, I think it's been animated. Sorry.
So the rest have hope too. From what we've heard, Picard season 2 is going to be more the Picard that we wanted and expected and deserved. So, yeah.
Yeah, the difference with Prodigy and such is that if they want to throw in a full Klingon super accurate bridge for one episode and a Galaxy class for a full episode, they can and will. Picard ain't building a Galaxy class bridge for one episode. Never in a million years they do that. They're not even going to green screen it based on previous thing, whereas these guys can and will. So Picard rather build it's a Starfleet bridge. Yeah, maybe some green. We'll reuse Discovery and say, oh yeah, now it's no, it's not. Whereas they can just say, oh, here's a proper bridge. They can do everything exactly as it was. I mean, Lower Decks, when they recreated, you know, the Star Trek II Wrath of Khan engine rooms, like that's actually fucking close. Oh my god, wow, more close than I realised until you go look. They would never do that on the live action. It's just not worth it for the bit. It is much easier on the other. So
there is and it's obviously neither Prodigy nor Lower Decks. Well, actually, that episode of Lower Decks is the closest it came to an episode of Family Guy in terms of cutaways, nearly, that we got to cycle through so many appearances. And you're right, for the gag, it works. It's hilarious. But I can understand from a production point of view, it's like, I am not building Deadwood so that you can have one line of dialogue. And it makes perfect sense. Now, maybe you should do a whole episode on Bridge of the Enterprise D, which, of course, hopefully they will in Picard. I don't think they will, but that's fine. Do you think we will see an Enterprise in season 2 of Picard? No. No E, no F.
Statue, like little things on a desk, maybe, but not an actual ship. No.
Also, Stuart, could you write the poll? I don't know what you want to. I don't know how to phrase the poll.
Yeah, I'm doing that right now.
Okay, I think we'll see an Enterprise. I think we'll see the evil Enterprise E, because the evil Enterprise D got destroyed fighting X, Y, and Z, and so then that'll be part of the narrative. Is that because it you know, so much more harsh to see an evil version. I'm also assuming. Cause I'm assuming we're probably going to have 3 episodes in the fascist timeline, and then they'll go back in time. We'll have the first episode will be normal, like really positive federation. We'll see Beverly or something really nice. That'll be episode 1. Like Seven's nicer now. Picard's an admiral. Like really nice. The end of the episode it goes haywire. Episode 2 it goes into the evil universe. That's the next 3 as they learn the plan later on to go back in time. And as part of that, we're going to see a evil Enterprise, which will then be, or even the Enterprise D still, because in All Good Things it still existed into the future. So, you know, even a Galaxy X version of the evil Enterprise, that's great. And so you can imagine, you know, them using that as it's just symbolically, it's horrible to see, which makes it powerful to, which makes it something they should show. You know, Picard stepping aboard his Enterprise D. Now the warship evil, which means you can change the bridge to some. You just build a part of the bridge, and then mostly it's evil. It's way further in the future and an alternate thing. It's like, yes, this is I killed how many people on this bridge? 44 billion. Make
Lovely.
It so.
Smell them in the air. What you find David Carson, you ring him, you see, does he still have that bridge set from yesterday's Enterprise sitting in the shed, which he just took out of storage for generations? Then see if he's still got it sitting around. There you go. We've got a bridge set now for season 2 of Picard. Because it's just, he directed yesterday's Enterprise and Generations. The bridge is effectively the same on alternate history Enterprise D as to Generations Enterprise D. They still have those. They have those side stations were in both episodes. Yeah. The actual days is a little bit different. I reckon he just took that home with him at the end of the shoot. Just give him a shout. Have you still got that lying around? Brilliant. There you go. There's your bridge now for season 2 of Picard.
I just don't know why.
Would be nice.
I mean, for me though, it would be as simple as build the wraparound and the captain's chair, and then put it on the LED wall and do a digital Enterprise D bridge, and then now you've got Picard de-aged. Because we're going to see de-aged evil Picard as a flashback or something, because that's logical and it's again harsher. Full uniform on the D. That would be so. Maybe even like Living Witness, where Picard is been asked to do a tour. It's the anniversary of Wolf 359, the day we kick the Borg's ass, and it's like, oh god damn it, and he walks aboard his Enterprise D variant. It's partially LED screen, partially physical set, and then you see a hologram of his evil self talking to the Borg, and it's like, this is what happened. Oh my god, like that's so powerful. And to watch our Picard seeing the gruesomeness, and obviously he'll be a flinch with the eye patch because that is what the evil Picard. No. But Patrick
can
get
not
them
sufficiently sinister.
I killed the Borg in one episode. Yeah. But to see, because as Patrick can just act truly barbaric Picard is a good acting challenge. Fully de-aged, you can do it better now. He was very good in the other one. It's just the obvious thing you do. And again, for an audience, seeing an Enterprise D warp out with evil painting, burning Borg, because you have an Enterprise D model from the first episode, you modify it. You have a Borg cube you modify that. You've now got Wolf 359 redone. LED wall from maybe Mandalorian if they could rent it because they haven't got one in LA necessarily. Like, there's so much you can do with such a little bit of storytelling. And the Mandalorian would do it because it's what fans need, want, makes sense. Picard has shifted away from all those things, whereas Lower Decks and Prodigy have done those things to a big extent. So we'll see where the balance is for season 2. Because never showing evil Picard would be such a shame, because how do you feel that invasiveness that he's feeling? Yep.
Mm-hmm.
He was evil. Okay, great. He was in a black uniform. Super. You've got green screen. You've got de-aging.
General Grievous throws in $2.
You.
Let's convert Picard and Disco to Star Trek. LOL. Wow. That's a burn.
No, let's not go nuts. Let's not go nuts.
SBS Guru 2005 euros.
Thank you.
The showrunners of Lower Decks and Prodigy should conspire and oust Kurtzman and his cohorts. Take over the franchise. Yeah, mutiny on the franchise. Yeah. I put up another poll, guys. Go take a look, vote on that. And it says, would you guys want to see an animated shows become live action? Yes, let's see that. No. Okay. Animate the live action shows. Or everything should be animated. I didn't know how to word it either.
Yeah. I was like, what's he going to put here?
I didn't know. I was like trying things. It just didn't work. Anyway.
Do you think we're going to see Enterprise in season 2 then, Sean? Any Enterprise?
I do think we will see at least one. Here's my hot take theory, which will probably end up nonsense. Last episode, Captain Worf. I think there's a reason we haven't seen the Klingons. And I think it's because they're going to look exactly the way they're supposed to, but they're going to leave the reveal for Worf. I don't think we'll get Captain LaForge. I think we will see LaForge, whether it be season 2 or season 3. I think we will see Geordi. In fact, we will see Geordi, and we will see Crusher. Everyone who can come back will come back. I believe. I don't know in what shape or form.
Yeah, this is their last chance. He's not going to do it on the season, so.
No, this is true. So. Please, CBS, I know I don't carry any weight whatsoever, but will you give Diana Muldaur a ring, please?
Oh.
Because it would be nice if we got one scene of every main character of the Next Generation.
Yeah. Well, I did joke to Stuart the last scene should be another poker game, like a retirement party poker game, where they all come
would be
and they're all in uniforms, and then yeah, like you say, Wesley's there, Commander Wesley and Chief Medical Officer, Pulaski, etc. Would be, and the exact same music as well.
Yeah, I think that,
the exact same ending.
I couldn't in any way argue. I think that'd be lovely.
Because that's a universally beautiful ending. I don't think there's a single person that hates that ending. So just do it again. Like people will be like, you know what? Yeah, okay, we get it.
Thematically, it's perfect.
Or it's like a birthday party. Like it's just so similar vein.
Like a poem.
Yeah.
George Lucas. Sergeant Montgomery, though, $2. I would like to see this XCV 330 or referenced in 2024. Yes. The problem is that ship didn't get commissioned until 2127, so you're not going to see that.
Wow, that's
just saying.
We haven't even got warp drive, let alone spaceships. I mean, that's
yeah. Dave, £2. Didn't we see Evil Picard in Shinzon?
No,
we saw an alternate version of Picard, Nature versus.
Yeah,
Nature. He was 7 when they stopped his aging, or 10. So, he lived an entirely different life. So no, they don't. Yeah, no.
SPS Guru, €2,005. The animated shows should stay animated. Part of the charm is that they are animated. The overall style and tone of them wouldn't work as live action.
You're probably right, to be fair. I would love to see even one throwaway gag of our 4 main lower deckers, where you're walking through a starbase and they're sitting. But I think you're right. I think that the main charm of these shows works because of the medium that they're in.
Yeah.
But we should see Boimler on the Titan cameo, because he's on the Titan still. The other version of him, just bring that guy in for a day.
Yes, of course.
Purple up his hair, be pretty clear.
Right.
Dr. Rock Awesome throws in $1 with no comment, but thank you so much. And Jeffrey Jacobs, $2. Hit make Jeff pay. Loved Prodigy finale. So.
Oh, we're down to our last $10. The number is so teasing. Yeah. Just saying.
One $10 super chat, 2 5s. You do the math.
50 cents if that's possible. Actually, we had a challenge at one point who could get less than $1, and our Russian super chatter put in $1 Russian, and it was 27 cents. So he did it.
That's what we asked for, and he did the calculation.
Yeah, it was great. Thanks for 14 cents in super chat money.
Well, I'll take this time while we're waiting to get another super chat. But there is our last super chat slot, guys. Right now, Jeff Jacobs has it. So if you want to scoop it with $10 to make us hit our goal, please do. But I'd like to take this time to thank Sean for joining us again, and for theorizing and discussing and talking about time travel stuff. Because, damn. Okay, I got to ask you, what would you rank this score-wise out of 10?
I didn't think about this in advance. I probably should have. Well, I'd say a high 7 to an 8.
Okay.
Yeah. I was left quite satisfied. Discussed the plan. Didn't like the plan. There was no plan. But I think the moment Zero made up for it. The Janeway reveal at the end made up for it. The sense of family. I actually get with the Protostar crew. I get a sense of family there. Something that I think is.
Yeah. And hologram Janeway's closing training log was it felt very much like a series or even a season finale.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was really well done, I think. So
yeah.
Matt Boardman throws in our $10 and says, teasing $10. Thought he had the last super chat slot, but Tony Macy snipes in with $5 and says, do you like Rogue One and have a page over the do it like Rogue One and have a page over the comm?
Right, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Right, Cerritos is in the fleet, and they say, "This is Captain Freeman. I've got X, Y, and Z."
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That would work for sure. Yeah. All right, guys. I think we'll close out there. So again, Sean, thanks for joining us. Hope we'll see you again sometime.
Hope we've had fun as well, because we go pretty in depth with stuff.
No, this was all top level. The light was great. Get me a coffee. This was great. Thank you so much for having me, guys. I really, really enjoyed this evening.
And all of you guys, if you haven't checked out TrekCulture, go check it out. Just saying. So, more Sean over there, and I'm sure he'll join us again some other time. So, anyway, guys, until next time, he is Sean Ferrick.
He is Captain Foley.
And he is Sam. I really dropped the ball there. He is Sam, and he's brilliant. Sam Cockings. Oh, look at him. Look at him be brilliant.
Ranks, Joe. I've been demoted again.
Otherwise known as Commander. But anyway, we'll call it there. Thank you guys.
He's new. He's an ensign. It's fine.
He's Harry Kim.